All right, everybody, welcome back to Kitchen Science. This is what we're making today. This is a 5-hour cook brisket USDA Prime Point. I then went ahead and let it sit in my Breville smart toaster oven for 24 hours. And what we ended up getting out of this and how soft, squishy, and tender all of this was, it was amazing. If you like this kind of content, if this is something that you want to watch, please go ahead and stay tuned. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Kitchen Science. Today on Kitchen Science, we're going to go ahead and do something a little bit different. We're going to cook this USDA brisket. Wait, hold on. Did you say brisket? You know that there's like 15 million videos on YouTube about how to cook a brisket. Why do you think your brisket cook is going to be any more important than anybody else's? You know, you're very rude to go ahead and say that, but since you brought it up, let me go ahead and explain. So this is a Packer-style brisket. I got this at my local Wild Fork, as you can see right here. It's a prime USD brisket. It weighs almost 18 pounds, about $5 a pound. Okay, and there are two major muscle groups here in a brisket. And generally when you cook them, the difficult about cooking them is they cook differently. So the goal of every pit master out there is, can they cook the two muscle groups at the same time for the same amount of time and get the best benefits that you can. In Kansas City a long time ago, they decided to go ahead and actually separate these two muscle groups and cook them differently. And what they found was the cooking parameters and the textures and everything else were way different, and so were the times being the biggest factor here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to separate these two. So if you look at this brisket that I have right here, the top part that you see from about here to here is called the flat, and then this other piece that's sitting right here is called the point. And if you look, there's a big old piece of fat right here called the decal. We're going to go ahead and take this and pull this all the way out, all the way through here. We're going to pull the flat off. We're then going to go ahead and season only the point. And if you think about it, when you cook a brisket, the best part of the brisket is this little spot right here called burnt ends. And generally you get this little piece of it right here. It's about this thick, it's about this wide. You chop them up into little cubes. They're really delicious, nice and fatty, nice and really beefy flavor. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to make an entire piece of brisket. This entire point we're gonna turn into those burnt ends. So that's what we wanna go ahead and pull out of this today. So the burnt end part is going to go ahead and take 2 days. I'm also going to cook a piece of the flat, and that piece of the flat that I'm gonna go ahead and cook is gonna be tonight's dinner. So it's about 9:20 a.m. right now. I like to eat dinner around 6. That's a little bit of a push for the flat, but we'll pick a thinner end, we'll get it nice and trimmed up, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and go. All right, well, that sounds great and all, and it's probably true that not too many people have made this type of cook where they cook only the point. But I gotta ask you, why can't I just go to my local butcher and just get the point? You know, why do I have to buy the whole thing and then learn how to break it down and then learn how to cook it in 2 different ways? That just kind of seems like a waste of time. Why can't we just make this easier on ourselves? All right, without getting too technical, since you like to ask annoying questions, let me explain it this way. So along with these two parts, generally what they do is when they sell you a brisket, they can sell you a flat only or they can sell you the combo, right? And what a lot of beef companies or butchers will do is they'll cut this chunk off right here and they'll sell it only as the flat, and then they'll keep these other two pieces together and they'll sell it to, say, a restaurant. Now, there are times where they do separate the entire two pieces and they sell only the point and they sell only the flat, but generally the cost on just selling only the point is much higher. It's like 3 to 4 times higher than it would be if they just sell you the two pieces like this. The difficult part, and the part that I need everybody to pay attention to today, is how do I separate these? How do I prepare them? What methods do I go ahead and use so that we can make sure that this turns out exactly how we want it to be? That way the ladies and gentlemen at home can go ahead and actually cook this for themselves. They don't have to worry about spending all this extra money to go ahead and buy just a point or buy just a flat. They can buy one of these, they can break it down themselves, and then they can have a great product. So that's the goal today. That's what we want to go ahead and do. And as far as the point goes, that is the money muscle. That is what we want to go ahead and go after. So if this is the kind of content that you think you guys will like, please go ahead and stick around. If I end up doing something that you think is kind of fun, and you want to go ahead and leave a comment, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that too. And if you want to subscribe, that would be awesome, so that you can see what other kind of fun things that we end up doing here on this channel. But as always, stay tuned. We're going to get right into the breakdown of this USDA Prime 16-pound brisket. All right, everybody, we're back. Let's go ahead and let's break down this brisket. What we are looking for is we've got this decal piece right here, right? And we want to go ahead and start separating this out. So you'll notice how I'm doing this. This is all, for the most part, fat, as you can see. So we're gonna save this. Brisket fat is amazing. It's great on burgers. But we're gonna go ahead and render some of this today so that we can add it back to this while we're doing our cooking process. It's in there, you can see this big old fat line sitting here. And if I make a cut right here, you can see where that line goes ahead and continues. So this is what we want to do. We want to find this line and we want to separate these two pieces from one another. Just like so. Point off. Just like that. You want to try to leave a good amount of that. So if we flip this over here, you'll notice you can see where we're starting to actually separate the point from the rest of this flap here. So if you look in here, you can kind of see how that flat is starting to separate. So there we go. And you'll notice on these guys, there's a ton of fat in there, right? So we want to pop this guy off. And all I'd like to go ahead and do is just sort of take chunks off. Because even though I have a pretty good idea where everything is, I don't know everything about this animal. I don't know how everything was done on it. So I like to take chunks off when I'm doing this. I know that this is a weird way to trim this guy, but it allows me to sort of see everything. Because I know that here we've got this really big chunk, thick piece of fat. And for the most part, I know that I can generally take off about that much without actually getting into any real meat. You want to be nice and careful that you don't overtake off too much. And then check out my lines. And that's a good way to figure out exactly where you are. Right? Like in this piece right here, it's kind of squishy, so I know I'm probably really, really close to that 1/4 of an inch. But down here on this piece right here, I know that it's pretty squishy, so I'm probably close. Down here, the same idea. If it moves a lot, I don't really need to worry about that. Over here, same idea, nice and hard. So I'm gonna take just a touch more off. So that's kind of what we're looking for. We've got our ugly little mohawk area here. This guy will just end up burning up, so I'm gonna take him off. There we go. I'm gonna leave part of that mohawk because I actually like it. And I wanna remove just a little bit more of this wet age enzyme deteriorated section. Same thing over here. I just want to move just a little bit just to get it off. Okay, guys, this looks pretty good, right? So now we want to go ahead and give this another little trim ski right here. Remember, we're shooting for that aerodynamicness, right? That way when the smoke comes over this whole thing, it touches kind of all of it. And we can get as much smoke flavor on there as we want. This big chunk of fat right here, same idea. I just want to take just a little wet edge off of it. The rest of this guy goes. I know that all this intramolecular fat and marbling that we have in here is going to go ahead. Look at that. That's going to taste delicious. So when we season this guy and we get him ready to go ahead and go in the pit, we want to try to set it up so that he gets maximum amount of flavor and maximum amount of bark coverage. All right, guys, so here's our brisket. It's all nice and done. It's all nice and ready to go. So here's our flat. So if you remember, this is the side that our brisket sat on, or our point sat on, like so. Now, this is a bit of a controversy for a lot of people. Should I trim this now or should I trim it later? I'm a big fan of trimming it later. All this extra little fat and sinew and everything else we end up leaving on this guy is going to help against any kind of freezer burn. Now let's talk about this. This is kind of thin here. It's kind of thick here. If we look at it from this side, there's a decent amount of fat sitting right there. So you'll notice we've got right here, we've got the fat line that we want to go ahead and get. We've got a little bit of fat sitting in here, but then just another chunk right in there. So we want to take this guy off so we can see where we are. Take a little bit more off so we can see where we are. And I know that this is gonna cook up faster. All right, everybody, just to give you a visual what this looked like. So this is what I'm gonna save for the grinder, and this is what I'm gonna go ahead and turn into tallow. If interested, I can show you guys how to aerate this so that you get that Chicago Packhouse style Wagyu fat tallow that you see everybody selling on Amazon for 30 bucks for 2 pounds. If you wanna see that, go ahead and put a comment down in the comment section, and I'll work on putting a lot of that together. I have a big background in sort of fat and how it works from a scientific standpoint. So I can give you guys a good idea to how that works. Anyways, if this kind of content that you guys like, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button or give me a thumbs up if you wish you'd like to do that as well, if you want to see stuff like this moving forward. And as always, let's get back to the cook. It's taking us about 20 minutes to go ahead and break both of these guys down. So I think that we're ready to go. All right, everyone, it's now time. Go ahead and make our seasoning. So we have a 1/2 cup of freshly ground black pepper from my pepper mill. We have a 1/4 cup of salt going into our shaker, and we have a 1.5 tablespoons of garlic powder. To this, we're gonna go ahead and shake it up. And then we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. So we've got our meteorite and we are ready to go here. We're gonna finish doing the flat. See that guy? In that little end right there. That's what we wanna go for. This is what we wanna see. We wanna get as much of this on here as we can. Now we're gonna let these sit. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fire up the egg. We're gonna try some splits today. We're gonna see how that method goes ahead and works out. All right, everyone, so you can see what we got going on here. We're getting up to temp. We're at 200 degrees right now. We've got some good smoke coming out. We'll close that a little bit. We've got our egg fan sitting right here. You notice what I did is I used a Ziploc bag and I tied a piece of string around it, butcher's twine. So that's not really gonna go anywhere in case it blows. I've got all of our electronics sitting in this waterproof container. And we've got plenty of air going up in this way so that the egg can go ahead and do its thing. And as it sits and as it looks, we definitely have a little bit of white smoke coming out, but it's starting to turn blue. We're just gonna let it keep going until we end up getting the temperature that we are looking for. All right, everybody, just got them on. Notice here with our app, we're at 203 inside, which is normal, so the temp dropped. The meat's 45, you can see where I have it popped right there. Got our flat in the back. I didn't put a thermometer in it this time, it's so thin. I'm just gonna come out and check it in about 2 hours and see where we're at. I'm just gonna let this go. All right, everyone, let's see where we're at. So we are sitting right around 2 1/4. We've got nice, lovely blue smoke. The smell is amazing. All right, so we have some evap cooling going on. We're sitting around 145 degrees on the big guy. Little guy is still nice and hard, so I'm not really worried about that one just yet. But yeah, we got all this evap cooling going on. We needed to go ahead and leave. Hey everybody, it's been another hour. We've gotten temp up to about 265. This is looking great. All right, everybody, our flat is good and ready to go. So we're gonna foil boat it. Pair of tongs, gonna pop it in here. Right. So what I have here is a little bit of beef tallow, smoked beef tallow. I'm just gonna put a little bit on there. It's gonna go ahead and then finish cooking on the egg and coming up to temp because its tenderness is starting to get there. We are at temp. We've gone up to about 270 here on the pit, and we're at 170 degrees on our brisket. You'll see we've got a good amount of fat rendering going on. Now we want to go get it off. We want to foil boat it, and then we want to go ahead and get it back. And just like beforehand, we're going to add a little bit of love to that item and its fun little area. And let's let them go until they are done. The flat is done and ready to go. Oh yeah, good amount of jiggle there. Lovely gold to add to it. Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Wrap it all again. There we go. Pop this in our toaster oven at 150 degrees because it ends up temping around 140 degrees, and we're gonna let it sit in there until we are ready to eat. So at least another probably 2.5 to 3 hours. All right, so here's our brisket. Look at that. Oh, that looks delicious. Oh, there we go. That is really, really good. All right, everybody, so we're at temp. We're at 195. And then one more fold, and then voila, this guy's gonna end up going in my toaster oven. We're gonna let it go for at least 20 hours. So let's go ahead and open up our present. Look how oily this sucker is. We got really, look at that. Look at that jiggle. All right, so this is generally normally the burnt end area, so we're gonna take this off right now. Oh wow, look at that. Look at how floppy that is. Isn't that amazing? You can see how we got this nice fat rendering sitting in here. It's still super, look at that. Look how juicy that is. Still super juicy. All right, let's go ahead and try it out and see how it is. So here's our chunk. Here's our chunk. Oh, I forgot the best part here. Let's go ahead and get all that lovely smoked tallow on there. There you go. Let's see what my 10-year-old thinks. Is that good? Yeah, that's really good. Is that worth sitting in an oven for 24 hours? She says yes. All right, so take a look at this guy again. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it's amazing. I'm ecstatic with this. This is definitely going to be the new method that I use to go ahead and cook briskets. The point came out fantastic. The flat also went ahead and came out fantastic yesterday, as you saw earlier in the video. So this is it. This is what we're gonna do. Anyways, if you like this kind of content, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments, please go ahead and put them down below, and have a great barbecue week.